Okay, welcome back. This is a different module. Um, as we go through the goal setting process, let's take a different goal and apply it to this module, right? So this is the shorthand, so I can follow this summary. But for the most part, this is all about creating a visual and palpable representation of your goal, so that you can basically better identify with the feelings and the what it would look like, feel like, sound like, and then also to understanding the impact that that kind of magnitude of achievement would result in, not only to yourself but also to the rest of the world. So first off, is a good idea is to figure out who has experienced this before, right? So is there another model of someone who's kind of done the same thing? And let's look at, let's say, for instance, let's see, which one would be really good. Let's say let's pick a challenging one, right? So let's say your goal was to work in or to change jobs to something that's maybe better suited for your talents and your skills. So we're shorthanding the goal here. So let's say to work in a dream job, right? Or vocation, right? It doesn't have to be a job. It could be your own thing. So let's say dream vocation. So is there anyone else who has experienced this before? Of course there are. Yeah, there's so many people, right? So many people. And you can go through a list of your personal, heroes or personal people that who have done such a thing. For myself, I could say, my grandfather, right? He was a sculptor, an artist, and a wild character indeed. I would say, let's say, like, Benjamin Cohen, right? So he's a YouTuber. He's got some pretty great content, and he's using his talents and skills to basically create a good following and also create a lot of value. Let's see who else. Okay, let's say Dalio, right? He's a great investor, created the largest hedge funds in the world, and he's sort of a thought leader in his respective industry. So, thought leader, cool. So all these people are doing what they are kind of their sort of dream job, so to speak, but using their talents to create a living, right? So all that stuff is really good. I'm like, all right, great. I know. All these people are already doing it, and that is a subsection of a fraction of the people who are actually making it happen. So good to know. Next up is going to be, let's say, the vision, right? So the vision can be defined in the visual. Let's do a nice blue, right? So a visual representation of it, right? So that could be internal and external if you really want to get into the kind of NLP vibes, right? Neuro-linguistic programming. So for instance, the vision of what that would look like. Well, it would look like, me, let's say, waking up in the morning, and, the more vivid detail, the better. And I would see my studio, right? Whether it's digital or traditional, right? Traditional. And I would be working, I'd have things in progress, projects I'm excited about, things that I'm very, very interested in exploring. So let's say, like, the adventure of learning. And if I really want to, I can go into the nitty gritties, right? So I could be like, oh, I have, this incredible monitor, right? I have a beautiful, huge screen monitor where I can visually kind of see, all the things, right? Whether it's digital art, whatever. I have a powerful tools like computers and let's say a gaming tower, right? So I can do some 3D art easily, rendering, right? I could see, I see myself going to events, going to let's say, like, podcasts to talk about the latest, coolest things that I'm working on. I could see, I see basically, like, let's say passive income flows or income coming through to my bank accounts. So, like, literally writing down, like, I see, more zeros after a number in my bank account, right? So right? So whatever that means to you, you can write down that, and that'll start creating this very powerful visual representation of what you're looking for. So next up, let's do a straight line. Next up is going to be, hey, there's the visual, but there's also the kind of the feeling, right? So you can call it kinesthetic, again, if you're NLP, right? But you can also just call it the feeling, right? So that could be both external and internal, right? So that could be, actually, the feeling of things, but then that could also be the kind of the feeling of things, right, so to speak. So this one might look like, I feel like in the zone, right? I feel in flow, right? I feel a sense of pride in my work. I feel, I feel like I'm helping others, right? And then it could also be like, I feel, my mouse, right? I'm using a mouse, or my stencil, or stylus, right? Stylus, right? And then, so you could go through all these different kind of sensations that you're experiencing throughout, let's say, your perfect day. That's a great way to kind of get at it, right? Because single days can be ups and downs and Lambos and whatever. But then if you do something every day, all those things kind of get mundane and boring. But the things that really stand out are your true work and your true kind of sense of contribution and things like that. So more specific you can be. These are all what's known as anchors, right? So each one of these anchors is going to give you a something that your mind is going to be able to refer to pull you towards your goals, right? Versus trying to push yourself with discipline to get there. It will require discipline, but it'll be very, very purposeful. So there's kinesthetic, it's great. And then let's move to audio, right? So what are you going to hear, right? This is ear of some kind, right? All that art training for what, right? So what are you going to hear, right? You're going to hear maybe, let's say, like teammates, speaking to each other, communicating. You might hear like, conference calls. You might hear like lectures and audiobooks. You might hear other people, complimenting your work, right? You might hear, pure silence while working, right? So depending on your goal, depending on your field, this might be more relevant or less relevant, and you just put down as many as you can. And then let's start rolling into maybe another category, another section, which is once you finish the kind of the visual, auditory, kinesthetic, kind of painting the picture of where you want to be with your life, or specifically your goal. Then you start looking at kind of less tangible things. So for instance, signs of appreciation, right? We're kind of getting into that, both tangible and intangible. So what that means is, let's say for instance, you're doing your thing and let's say you're creating content you're putting in the world. Signs of appreciation are like people telling you their stories, right? They're like, oh my God, this is incredible. Thank you so much. Thank yous, basically. Those are intangible. Tangible expressions of appreciation are people, let's say, like sending a tip or something. People saying, hey, this is amazing. I'll send you flowers or something, or invitations to places. The line is it's very soft, but it's just another prompt for you to kind of understand how not only your vision applies to you, but how it might apply outwards into the world. And that leads flawlessly into this next, probably most powerful question, which is, what impact is this going to have, right, on your community? Yep. on your, and then also like impact on the world over your lifetime, right? That's the big question. Let me make a little room here. Let me just shrink this down a little bit, and just like that. So for instance, this is going to look like, your goal, amazing, right? And then your community, amazing. And then the kind of ripple effect out there into the world, right? How these things change other people's lives. So over time, right, how is that going to affect the world? Let's say in this case, impact on my community, other people will be generally inspired, I'd say, right? Because people love when people go out and do things, take risks that they wish they could take, right? But feel like they can't for some reason. And then also too, like that, how is that going to affect the world over time? Well, it's like, well, the work I would be doing here, let's say working on what I like or helping other people. It's like helping people achieve their own goals and dreams. It's like that's incredibly gratifying because those people can go further and change the world again. So it's kind of like a magnification kind of positive output, right? So it's kind of like a ricochet effect out into the world, higher and higher frequency, all from a sort of singular unit. And yeah, that's how I would see it. So that completes this particular module. It is pretty fun to get into it if you give yourself the time to kind of flesh out the vision. So I wish you luck on this, and it'd be a lot of fun. If you come up with something very exciting, please share it. I'd love to hear these things. They're so exciting, and the innovation that people come up with on their own terms is incredibly insightful, and I love hearing it.